gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy. You know, the show where we give you some straight-up gameplay and how we're feeling on the latest games releasing. And today we're going to talk very briefly on WWE 2K18. Now, look, the WWE 2K franchise is an interesting boat. The last few years, it's felt like many features were kind of like lost in translation due to the jump to next-generation consoles. And with every year, the franchise has kind of been building itself back up from the ground up. 2K18 is probably the high point of this, which is good, but it's also built up from the past few years as a wrestling game that isn't for every fan. I'll get to that. But what we have here is another yearly update that, while it doesn't do much new, it does seem to have really found its footing. This is the best version of the newest WWE formula yet. And while that's not really saying too much, when matches are working the way they should, there's really entertaining moments and a really good give and take and unpredictability to it. That's even better with friends, whether you go in competitive or go in with a plan to make some really amazing showman moments together. Not only that, too, I mean, the creation stuff allows for just so much creativity that you can spend like a good hour messing around creating wrestlers, entrances, and stuff like that, and not even playing the game. Gameplay-wise, though, the newer games have always been based around slow moves and frames of animation and quickly timed skill-based reversals, but it all connects slightly better now. It's still not perfect, but I found myself yelling at the TV less for like bullshit punches that shouldn't have landed or something like that. The refs are also a little faster this time around, which I complained about last year. I've also found less glitches and bugs in the actual gameplay this time around, which is a nice change from last year where players would just fly off the map, refs sometimes would get in the way or just not really be around, and some grapples just didn't take. But now there's also a new carry system, which is new for this game, but it really works similar to SmackDown vs. Raw in like 2007. Even if it's not new, it's totally good here because it was something the game sorely needed, and it really adds a slight level of more control that I think makes a hell of a difference. Notably, they've also added another option for how submissions are handled, which is a nice improvement for me, seeing as I kind of sucked at the way they used to go down. The wheel thing is still there, but now you can sort of strategically button mash your way out. You just have to pay attention, but I like it. Now, I just want to acknowledge something real quick. It's kind of just the state of the more recent WWE 2K games as a whole. Now, this is way more simulation-focused version of wrestling gameplay. It kind of rubs some fans the wrong way, and I'm pretty much with them on that. While the game is focused more around simulation, it sometimes feels almost too streamlined, you know, like especially with some grappling and movesets, it feels too simple. But at the same time, it also feels too stilted and technical and kind of sportsy-like. Now, I know this is a current game and I shouldn't be talking about the glory days, but it's just not as fun as the classic, more arcadey-style wrestling games that were out there. It's still challenging, if not more. It may be way more challenging now, and it has fun moments, but it's just very much a different breed of game, and these have been polarizing for a reason, and 2K18 definitely continues that trend. That's partly because this game just feels so much like 2K17. So if you weren't into 2K17, I would say that's pretty much the case here. It does fix some things, like I said, but it's still not perfect. I mean, backstage brawls had the potential to really be expanded upon, and while they're still kind of my favorite sometimes, it hasn't really changed much from last year. The way they start, the maps, it all feels pretty much the same here. Just look back at something like SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, and think about what could have been done here, what could have been added. But my career is updated and better than last year with much more to do. It does also feel really similar to last year's, but structurally there's more to do and more to keep you busy with. Now you can walk around training in fight areas and talk to people, modify your clothing, and take new promo pictures, get advice from pro players, and generally just get more of a lay of the land. It's all kind of just distractions, and the main focus is still obviously the fights, but it's there. It's also still kind of messy and awkward as hell with like lots of reading dialogue and characters awkwardly, silently mouthing words. They almost all look like really bad Mass Effect Andromeda faces. Otherwise, though, it's still deeper, it's a bit longer, and it will please some fans, maybe even many fans, because you can't really beat the rags to riches, rise to fame story thing. Road to Glory also has its improvements that complement the career pretty well, but Universe Mode still leaves a lot to be desired. They didn't add much, and it's starting to just kind of feel stale, or like the developers don't really know what else to do with it. And also, lots of attention has been made to the new graphics engine. I thought last year looked pretty decent, and I played this year on Xbox One, and if I'm being honest, I didn't see much of an improvement. Faces are weird, lighting doesn't look so hot, and everything just feels choppy with a rough frame rate and screen tearing, especially during my career. It doesn't look awful, but it's just not really a big step up at all to me. It's also glitchy as hell. This game is a mess sometimes. While I said I'm glad there are less glitches during actual gameplay and actual matches, the presentation's still a mess. You know, faces often look really weird, body parts clip, and like I said, it all just feels pretty choppy. But sometimes, despite all these flaws, you can't beat making a fun, dumb-looking character and messing with your friends or creating basically whatever you want and kind of living the wrestling fan dream. Playing online works well enough, and this is absolutely a game that I think is better with friends, whether you're competing online through the various modes or just sitting on the couch together making custom character entrances and dumb stuff. It's not like a completely terrible game or anything, it's just kind of mixed. Like with every good, new, exciting feature, there's some issues here and there, or there's just the game still feeling the same. I still feel like the series needs a complete fresh start. Take a year off so it can kind of return to its former wrestling glory. But that's just me, and you know how before eBuy works, I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion thrown in there. So now I definitely want to hear yours in the comments. How you guys feeling on this game? I also did 2K17 and 2K16. I did before eBuys on those. So go back, check those out, maybe if you haven't played those. But overall, if you are a fan, I want to know how you're feeling on this one. Was I too hard on it? Let's talk about anything WWE 2K18 down in the comments below. I'll be down there talking to you guys, but you know the deal. Clicking the like button helps us out a ton. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed already, you should, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Making his way to the ring from New York, weighing in at 231 pounds, Mike.